I've come to the realization that breaking into tech is not as hard as people think. I'm going to say that one more time. It is not as hard as people think. It's more of a mindset problem. I had this problem. It's a lack of confidence. That's exactly what it is. It took me some time to think about it, but it's purely just a lack of confidence. And let me show you this. Let me give you an example of what I mean. I passed what is known as probably what people call one of the hardest certifications you can ever take, the CISSP, right? I thought when I took this certification, I thought I was going to fail it. I truly thought I was going to fail this exam and it'd be cooked and no more. But I've come to the realization that it's all in the mind. I believed that I could pass it. I told myself I'll pass it. No matter what, I'll pass it. And I didn't have that self-belief in myself until my uncle had that self-belief in me that said, hey, just apply for this network engineering position, learn network engineering. He's the one that put that self-belief in me. But I'm going to tell you this right now. You can put that self-belief in yourself. You can put that self-belief in yourself to give you the ability to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I can land a job as a network engineer. And that is going to make your life so much easier when it comes to getting your first tech position. If you tell yourself, maybe I should stay in help desk. Maybe I should just not do anything and just stay in help desk. That is the worst mistake you can ever do. That is the worst mistake that you can ever do is tell yourself, man, maybe I'll just stay in help desk, right? That is a mistake that will cost your career potentially because you're going to be stuck in this help desk loop for quite a bit. And once you're in this help desk loop, I promise you, you're going to get stuck. Tell yourself, I'm worth more. I can do more. No matter what, I'll figure out how to do more. And as soon as you can crack that, as soon as you can figure that out and that game plan, I promise you everything else becomes easier. I remember my first network engineering interview back in 2021. I was petrified. I was nervous. I walked in. It was a panel interview with 4 individuals. 4 people on a panel interview. Think about that. 4 people. I thought it was going to be one-person interview. Every single interview I've done, obviously it's been at other jobs, at United Airlines, at security companies, at other places like that. But at a panel interview, walking in, I was terrified. I walked in, and let me tell you the story of how it went, actually. This is actually kind of funny. In that panel interview that I had, right, I remember seeing the group of people that I was going to interview with from the corner of my eye. I was like, hopefully I don't have to go into that table. And then they said, yeah, you speak with these people. So I woke, I came in. Obviously, I was wearing a suit and tie and everything. I shook everyone's hand. I gave them my resume and everything, and we just talked. And in the beginning, my heart was throbbing, but I gave it time. I kept asking them questions. The more questions I asked them, it actually helped quite a bit. And then obviously they asked me some technical questions. I was able to answer a couple of them from the practice that I did, and luckily I ended up getting the position. And the funny thing is, my confidence went from 0 to 100 just after that. I was like, wait, you know what? It's this weird thing where as soon as you've been validated, it's almost easier to have that confidence in yourself to do it again. That's why, when I interview now, it's not that much more difficult than it is, because I have the confidence in myself that, hey, you know what? I can always get another position because I've done it before, right? And I was having a conversation with a student who ended up getting an offer letter, and I told him, hey, you've been working help desk for the past 8 years. I get that. But now that you're out of the help desk loop, now your new baseline is going to be a network administrator, because he's landed a network administrator position, which pays double of what he paid as a help desk position. But that is now going to be his new low, right? He instead of saying, oh, I can always go back to help desk, because he did bring that up when we first initially spoke. But now it's like, hey, now instead of I can always go back to help desk, now you can always go back to becoming a network administrator. So he basically raised your baseline, right? And that confidence is going to kind of go ooze into other areas where you're like, you know what? I'm never going to apply for this help desk position, right? Because it seems safe. It seems easy. It seems like the easy way in. No. You're going to be like, you know what? I deserve more. I know I can get more. And then that will ooze in the interview process. That will show, that confidence will just come out, and it'll just be easy to explain yourself even more and more and more. And that is always what I tell students who are trying to get into tech. Focus more on the confidence in yourself that you can figure things out. And I promise you, everything else will become 10, 20, 30 times easier. Okay. Next thing I notice as well is once you're working, you're going to realize that, hey, it's not as bad as or scary as you thought. And that it will also increase your confidence, because when I got my first ever position, I was even scared to even walk into the office. I was scared to even walk into the office. Doesn't that sound crazy? But yes, I was scared. But thankfully, I overcome that fear, and it became easier and easier and easier to kind of go to work, because obviously you're gonna have imposter syndrome. But once you work there for a couple of months, that imposter syndrome is gone, right? So think about it. Our biggest fear, if you really think about what is your fear when it comes to getting into tech or getting your first career as a network engineer, is the fear of getting a job, really, and not knowing what you're doing. But the good news is most of the jobs will train you on exactly how to do the job, because every company has their own standard operating procedures that you have to follow anyways. So this fear of like, oh, what if I get caught and they know I don't know anything, or what they know, I don't know that much. Truthfully, no one knows enough in tech. No one knows everything in tech. Maybe you'll know more things than other people. I remember my first couple of weeks, I was like, not that I was trying to act like I know more stuff. I was like, hey, is this like, I basically, I asked someone, I basically corrected someone, right? And I was kind of scared of doing it, but I was like, to see what happens. Like, hey, by the way, I think, are you supposed to do it this way? He's like, oh, no, actually it's supposed to be that way. I was like, huh. So maybe I can be an asset to the team, because no one wants to be a freeloader in a company, right? So that's kind of what I learned a lot, is the fear is all in your mind. You're overthinking it way too much. And when you're overthinking it way too much, you're just going to be in this hyper loop of fear, and things are just going to be confusing for a while. And I don't want you to deal with those problems, okay? So that is what I notice a lot when it comes to tech, is really about the confidence and the self-belief in yourself that you're able to get a job, right? And you will get a job. And sometimes you need someone to push that confidence in you. Because a lot of times this is where people make mistakes. Like they'll say, I'll figure it out on my own. I'll try to figure it out on my own. And then they have the doubts creep in. They don't have a mentor. They don't have someone who can show them exactly how to do things. And then they end up getting lost. And when you get lost, you just get confused. You don't know how to progress in your career. You don't know what next steps to take. Because when you try to figure out on your own, I promise you, you're either going to waste time, make mistakes, and regret not getting a mentor. I'm glad that I had my uncle as a mentor. Yes. Is it a benefit to have someone who's a network engineer that you can directly contact? Absolutely. But you can find people to directly contact and ask for help. That is my best recommendation, and learn from them, see what they do on the job, ask for help. Obviously, some people are going to be useless and not really give you the best help. Not to say they're not useless, but maybe they may not be advantageous to you because they're either busy or they don't really know you like that. But you can find an individual who's willing to help you, because you're probably making mistakes and you don't know what mistakes you're making, because you don't know what you don't know, and then you're going to constantly be making mistakes. Okay, I know this video is kind of all over the place, but I wanted to just kind of give my raw thoughts of kind of what I'm seeing in the industry and what people are making mistakes on, because I talk to tons and tons of people every single day on LinkedIn talking about, hey, I'm struggling, I can't find a job, I can't struggle to find a job. I look at the resume and I'm like, what kind of resume is this? Like you're making the number one biggest mistakes on your resume. And it's not like you've even had your resume reviewed. It's like that is like the first thing you want to look at is your resume, and then obviously your experience. But like it's like, yo, this is such a bad resume. And you're saying, I don't know, like I've been trying for so long. This is the trick, guys. Copy what works. What worked for another individual is probably going to work for you. So why don't you just copy a resume, or not copy your experience, but copy the formatting and how the flow of the resume, because that resume worked for that individual. Why can't you just do that? And that's what I had to learn to understand. And once I understood, I was like, okay, cool. That's pretty much how things work. And once you understand that, I promise you everything gets 10, 20, 30 times easier, and it becomes even easier to land that first position. So that's just kind of my raw thoughts in terms of everything, because at the end of the day, getting into tech is really about the mind. It's about the confidence and the belief in yourself that you can actually do it. And then once you land that job, once you get that position, right? Then you're going to have that self-belief in yourself. Your confidence is going to go high, right? You're always going to have ups and downs. Like I told you, when I got my first job, I was even afraid to even walk into the office, but your confidence is going to eventually get higher and higher and higher, to the point where you're interviewing for positions and you're just rejecting job offers. And once you get to that point, I promise you everything is like, it's like there's a whole nother side of tech that you don't know about, of people getting 200K offers that I know that are rejecting them because they got a 250K offer. That world exists, but you have to be around those people. And when you're around those people, it elevates you to a next level. So really the whole point of this video is to show you that, yes, anything is possible. You can do whatever you want. You can get even this certification, the CISSP certification, which was one of the hardest certifications I've ever taken in my life. And I somehow passed it, and I feel great about passing it. Even if I failed it, I would have just retook it. Right. But that's just all I have to say. If you guys need more help on how to break into tech or want to get into affiliate networking, just look at my bio if you're interested. But just wanted to say what's up and drop a quick video like this. But hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and peace.